Hey folks, this is Gray here, and today I want to talk to you a little bit about hurricane preparedness. And the reason I want to bring this up is because what you see of an unprecedented storm that's hit California. Mostly California is dealing with very nasty floods, basically runoffs, mudslides, and flash flooding, some wind damage, and localized fires as well. And that's just one part of the story that I wanted to discuss. Here on the screen, as you can see, this is the Atlantic hurricane season. And you can see there's 1, 2, 3, 4 storms out there, plus another one coming off the coast of Africa, kind of lining themselves up. I think we have Tropical Depression 9, Franklin, Gert, and Emily, and then the unknown. Emily's going to dissipate into anything, but I want to bring attention to this specific situation. Because when hurricanes come, or storms in general, there's a few things that come into play that can affect people's lives. Specifically in this video, I want to talk about heat. Because it's been very, very, very hot this summer, and it's still currently extremely hot here in Florida. And I want to talk about heat. The reason why is because look what's happened just over the past few months here in the United States. In the article right here that you can see, or the headline, it says extreme heat has killed 147 people in 5 counties, coroner's report. The real number is likely much higher. This was on August 7th, 2023, not too long ago at all. A lot of people see that once we move out of August and into September, they feel that fall's right around the corner. Some people let their guards down. But I want to share with you this little clip of an article that was dated today, which says tens of millions of Americans to swelter in triple-digit temps this week. This was dated today. AccuWeather real field temperatures can surge to 120 degrees Fahrenheit in parts of the nation's midsection as the hottest weather of the summer swelters more than 15 states. So you're probably asking me, why am I talking about hurricanes and what's going on with storms and all the things that are happening across the globe, specifically the United States, because that's where I usually focus on, because that's where I'm from, specifically Florida, to even go hone in on it, is heat. So when a storm comes through, like let's say a hurricane, right? And hurricane has a sense to knock a lot of power out, sometimes just for a few hours, sometimes for weeks and months on end, depending on where you're living and how the infrastructure is. So how do you deal with the heat in a situation like that? Now, some of you folks may have, let's say, a window AC unit, possibly, or even a portable AC unit that you plug into the wall. But if you don't have any power, then you're going to use your generator, your gas-powered generator, for that purpose. Well, I talked about a product about 3, maybe 4 months ago, which is the EcoFlow Wave 2. And I want to bring attention to that, and there's a specific reason why. Okay, so let's talk about gas generators. I love my gas generator, and it does a lot for me. It's very powerful, and it's very efficient. Pulls about 7,500 watts and peaks out about 9,500. But look at gas prices today. As you can see on the screen, it says gas prices hit 2023 highs in California as Tropical Storm Hillary hammers the state. Whenever a natural disaster presents itself, it always seems that the gas prices start to skyrocket. Of course, the infrastructure starts to break down, and of course, everything that runs on electricity, including the pumps that push the gas into the vehicle that you use to pump, or the pump that pushes the gas into the vehicle that you fill up, or any other additional things like you have gas containers or whatnot, you're going to pay a premium at the pump these days. Now, some folks like myself, we store gas for long periods of time. Hopefully you know how to store gas for long periods of time, because it's very, very simple to store gas. There's specific types of gas that work better than others, and I would suggest to do a lot of research when it comes to storing gas for long term, and also to pay attention to where you store your gas at, because the last thing you want to do is have your house burned down. Back to the topic. So when it comes to a storm that knocks out power to your home and the gas generator, okay, so let's say you run the gas generator for a few days, great. You run out of fuel, you don't have any more. So what do? What is something that you can use that's going to cool your room, specifically a specific room, because I'm pretty sure most folks can't afford 3 or 4 of these units, specifically the EcoFlow Wave 2, is because they're a bit pricey. But you got to think about sometimes the peace of mind that it offers you. In regards to a battery-powered, aka solar-powered unit that you can charge via, solar. You can charge via portable power station. Actually, it works in conjunction, extremely efficient when you pair the Wave 2 and an EcoFlow portable power station, or whatever power station you have. DC to DC just seems to work better with that specific unit versus plugging it into a generator, just because the draw is a little bit different. Anyways, I want to show you really quick how I use this in a situation where a hurricane presents itself and knocks out power in my home. Now, I do have a roll-around AC unit, and I also have the EcoFlow Wave 2. But the roll-around unit does have an extreme draw, which is a 10,000. It's a 10,000 BTU unit. The EcoFlow is a little bit less, but when you're trying to cool a specific room, let's say your master bedroom, for instance, and you have your family all kind of hunkering down because you're going to have some lanterns, you're going to have, comfort foods, or whatever you're going to get through the storm and weather the storm, and it might as well do it while it's cool. Heat has a big thing, folks, especially here in Florida. There's a population of elderly is very, very, very large, and folks, a lot of folks die from just heat. As you see, people who work outside are just dropping like flies. People that get left at home alone, specifically the elderly, without proper cooling in their home, or at least in a room so they can keep cool, they will also suffer the consequences. So do you see how products like this can be very beneficial to you? Anyways, so this is how I use my EcoFlow in a couple of different scenarios. All right, folks, so here we are in the pantry room. In the pantry room, I like to keep roughly at 70 degrees with very little to no humidity, but it's very hard to do in Florida. But I maintain usually between 40 to 60% depending on the season that we're in. But I put a dehumidifier in here, which actually helps tremendously. Anyways, so here we have the EcoWave 2. And I kind of want to give you an idea. So I brought the little thermometer gun here, and I'm going to go ahead and ping this off the wall here so that you guys can see what the ambient temperature in here is right now. I'll go ahead and hold that, and then I'll show that to you on the screen so that you can see that. I think it says 70.9 degrees, which is close to where I like to have it. Roughly that under at least 72 degrees, minimal. So then I wanted to show you, so if the power goes out, and of course this would be dark, but I have emergency lighting throughout here. So let's go see what the EcoFlow is producing for the air that's coming out of the unit. And just to kind of give an idea, I don't know if you guys can see that on screen but I'll go ahead and pause it just to see where we're at. I wanted to see if it gets an ambient temperature. And it seems like it's focusing in right about 48 degrees. That's awesome, folks. 48 degrees? I mean, to me, 48 degrees is perfect. So it's going to bring down the temperature in this room dramatically. And it's going from DC to DC, kind of in the clip that I showed you as I'm talking about this, of how I have it hooked up to an EcoFlow portable power station up here on one of these shelves. And it works a lot efficient. So when the power goes out, this would keep all my preps, my medical preps, my food preps, as well as some other important things that are in this room for myself and my family. And the last thing I want to mention is that the power station depletes all of its energy, right? Then we come down here to this battery that's down here, and it'll run off the battery that's underneath the Wave 2. Whenever I say EcoFlow, I'm specifically talking about the EcoFlow Wave 2. So if I use up all the power in that portable power station, then the energy will be drawn from the battery that's underneath here. So it's kind of a redundant system, because once that power station runs out, then I will throw it out to make sure that it gets charged via sun, or if I had the gas, a generator. So just to kind of show you, there's bits of redundancies incorporated into a unit like this. As you can see, one of the scenarios that I use the Wave 2 is in my prepper pantry, right? Because I like to keep my pantry at a specific temperature, because I have a lot of medical equipment in there, I have a lot of food in there, and have things that don't do well in humidity and in heat. And the last thing I want to do is lose what I have in that room. So having something that's optimal that I could use in that room, like the Wave 2, would be very beneficial to me and my family. If you're out in some places where the heat is just, it's so bad that you have to stay inside under some sort of centralized AC unit, but if there's no power, you don't have access to that, and that can create issues. Not only just for the elderly, but also for the young. If you have infants and children, they can be affected heavily by the heat as well. So I wanted to show you this and kind of talk about EcoFlow, because EcoFlow is working in conjunction with September, which is coming up, with an emergency preparedness month. They're going to have all kinds of deals down on their website, so that you guys, if you guys want to have the finances to do so, you can take that opportunity to possibly look at some of their products and look at specifically maybe the Wave 2, or maybe even a portable power station, or in conjunction with one or another, or both. So anyways, I wanted to share that with you guys, because I think this sale is going to go through the end of September, which is Preparedness Month, which we'll be doing a lot focusing on September in regards to Emergency Preparedness Month. or they like to shorten it down to Preparedness Month. But anyways, I wanted to just talk about this and kind of get things, the ball rolling, because the next thing I want to talk about, hopefully this week, will be water, because water is such a huge thing. Again, I can relate back to a hurricane, a storm, a natural disaster like the earthquake, the floods, the storms, everything that's happening as you see in localized places, because water can be truly affected from your tap because storm drains get full, they overflow, chemicals, all the pollutants in the ground start to leach into the water supply. Everything is a disaster zone, so that you need to filter water. But we'll talk about that on the next video. Hopefully that I'll get that done this week on a unit that I have that I like to use currently outside of some of my other little portable units, but also a tabletop unit that I think you guys might enjoy. Other than that, folks, hopefully this kind of gets the word out there in regards to getting prepared for what's yet to come. And what I mean by that is because you never know when a storm's going to present itself. Because also, and I'll put a link up to the, wherever it pops up, I'll put a link to the review I did on the Wave 2, because it also does heat. So as we approach winter, and the winter storms, per the Farmer's Almanac and several other meteorologists, state it's certain places like in the northeastern region around New York and all those areas around that area are expected to have some really, really nasty blizzards. And if that case is you get snowed into your home, and if power goes down because of the weight of ice or snow or any type of thing that happens, you don't want to freeze to death in your home, and you want to have a heat source that's going to be beneficial to you. Basically, the EcoWave 2 has a heat pump in it, which is very awesome, which is also solar and battery powered. And then if you want to throw, let's say, a bifacial panel by EcoFlow, which is great because the snow is reflective. When the sun comes out, even though there's still cold out, you still have sun coming from this side and a reflective background that's going to kind of do both sides of that bifacial solar panel to kind of increase the production of solar power going into the unit and charging those units. And I know I'm kind of just rambling on, but as I'm thinking of things, it's just kind of on the fly sometimes. I don't really use the script, folks, and it's just things that are popping in my head left and right. But you want to be prepared as best as you possibly can be. Some people say, well, Grey, I have a buddy heater. I have, some sort of type of other propane heater. I have a ceramic heater that I plug in all the time. Whatever the case may be, but they all rely on power. And most heaters that you use outside of the propane electrical version heaters, space heaters and whatnot, they have a huge draw. I've used them in a lot of tests on the portable power stations that I use, and I'll probably use it a lot more often because it has such a draw, and it will drain a power station down tremendously. So imagine having a unit with a battery built into it that all you have to do is turn this thing on and heat a room up very efficiently, very safely, and I think it's just a all-around solid product. Now, I know a lot of folks, with the economy being the way it is, most folks can't afford certain things or preps of this nature. But it's also good to kind of put that on your wish list and keep it in the back of your mind if you can't get it right now. And if you do find some disposable income, you might want to look into something like that. You don't have to run out and buy it today, but just look at what's happening around us. A lot of those people that are suffering from certain things around the globe, and here specifically in the United States, is because they get caught off guard, because most people have this mindset, it will not happen to them until it does. Anyways, folks, I hope you got some value out of this video. If you did, hit that thumbs up button. It's truly appreciated. And if you're new here, would you like to subscribe? You can hit that button as well. Be truly appreciated. And as always, folks, I want to say thank you for being here. Remember, you are not alone. This is GreyMan. I'm out. I'll see you guys in a rebound. God bless, and thank you for watching.